What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. We are rating every kayak that we use this year, and that's a lot. I need to be clear. These are not kayaks that we stepped into and stepped out of in 1 hour. These are kayaks that we actually owned and used for multiple months and throughout the year. And modified. So we know how it goes when you're trying to like rig or modify these kayaks. We can speak to that experience. The way that we're going to do this is our new rating system, the aggressively average assessment. We have 5 categories. They are design and innovation, user experience, performance, quality and durability, and value. We're going to go through and give you guys a score out of 5. 1 would be absolute trash. Buyer beware, never, ever, ever buy this.
We don't do any decimals. There's no 1.6, there's no 0.3. So 1 is the worst score you can get.
5 is perfection, sheer perfection, which is why it's hard to attain. So most products will not get a 5, especially in all categories. We have not reviewed a perfect product yet.
No.
And I would doubt that we ever will, and because that would be hard.
And you're going to see a lot of 3s and 4s. The reason you're going to see a lot of 3s and 4s is 3, good. 3 is like average, just good. 4, very, very good. Now, why are you going to see a lot of 3s and 4s? We don't generally go buy things that we don't think are going to be good.
I don't want to use it.
We get a lot of stuff that's like quality as it is, but we'll let you know when it's bad. But 3 is good, 5 is phenomenal, can't be beat, 1 is horrific.
And the way that this is going to work for today is we're going to go through each kayak. We'll give you all the scores across the board, and then we'll speak to our own personal aggressively average assessment. So you have Jeff's opinion, Paul's opinion at the end of that, and then that should maybe help you decide for yourself if that is a worthwhile investment for you or not. And that's the entire goal here. We want to continue to rate every single thing that we use, which is a lot of things in the fishing industry, and aggregate all of that information to a website where you guys could search unbiased reviews, because we are not sponsored by anybody. That's our quest. That's what we want to do on this channel, and hopefully you guys do appreciate that. So without further ado, let's get into some kayak ratings. So first up, first kayak we're going to review for today is the Native Titan X. This is a tournament riggable, ready to hit the water and crush them kind of big bargey kayak. It is big. It's one of the heaviest kayaks I think that exists, maybe the heaviest one in terms of like just straight plastic vessels.
Right up there.
175 pounds dry with nothing in it. So it's a beastly boy. I had a lot of fun fishing out of this year. You do need to know off the top, it is $36.99 retail value. Oh my god.
Shock value is high.
Yeah, it is a pedal kayak. It is a native pedal using the native pedal drive. And there's a lot of good features and some things that are not so great that we're going to talk about. So starting off the top, design and innovation. I actually gave this thing a 5.
Yeah, which is very rare. We'll explain why in a little bit. User experience got a 4. Performance got a 4. Durability and quality got a 4. And then value, surprisingly enough, gets a 3. So that's an overall score of 80% out of the total you could get. So 20 out of 25.
So design and innovation gets a 5 because Native and Bonafide, being the same company, were one of the first companies to really bring to the market or popularize or improve upon this idea of pass-through plates. So they're using their PowerLink plates, which allows you to wire and rig a kayak very easily without drilling holes into the main hull of the boat, which is like the last thing anybody wants to do. You pay a couple of grand for a piece of plastic to rip a hole into it. Like, it is
immediately
so nerve-wracking. If you guys haven't done it, it's, oh gosh, I hate it.
There's a couple other things we love. We love the way that there's a drop-in bin in the front hatch, and the front hatch is very well designed. There's a couple other things that we really liked about it. It's got perfect spots for center mount motor in the back, and it accepts really easily with a plate mod, a bow mount motor in the front.
The rear cargo area is gigantic, and it has a recessed area designed for the 16x16 Yak Attack Black
It's
Bag.
the biggest one they make.
It already comes with tie downs for it, which are actually on the floor. So they don't have like the bungee cord crossing or wrapping all over the place.
Nice.
Right on the floor, has the Yak Attack hooks for that, so you can lock down your black pack. It's genius.
And it's got a battery box, which is fire.
There's a battery box right in front of that area that goes into the hull of the boat, so battery's out of the way, and you can stack stuff on top of that if you want to. The front hatch is really well designed as well, and it has a molded-in battery spot for the battery that you would use for your, either if you want to use it for your bow mount motor, or most likely your fish finder. And this is part of how they got the score for the innovation is there's a pass-through wire spot where you can still be waterproof in the front hatch and have your wires coming out. They're actually locked down with a little tab that is now like standard on all native kayaks, and it goes straight to your fish finder. So very clean riggability setup there. The design on this thing was phenomenal when we first saw it, I believe last year at ICAST, and then finally got our hands on it this year. It's Awesome.
Hull design, make sure it's insanely stable. One of the most, if not the most stable kayak that's out there.
Over 40 inches wide.
Insane. And the swivel seat is phenomenal. It's
Yep.
very comfortable. So design marks and innovation,
Great.
that's how you get the 5. Now, user experience, performance, I think there's just a couple of small things that we didn't love. One is a little bit of trade-off. So with that specific design, it's also very big, which means even though you get the pedals, likely you're gonna be adding more to it, and you're definitely gonna be stuffing it full of stuff because it's gigantic. It's huge. You're gonna need a trailer, or at least you're gonna need wheels. And when you put the wheels on, it does get in the way of the battery box. But the idea that it can't be thrown and go the way it is, there's a little bit of a trade-off for that stability. So we didn't love the weight and then the general size, meaning you gotta kind of have a motor in there.
Yep. Performance-wise, it is a bit slower as a pedal kayak. You're not paddling this thing. Yes, you can, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like,
designed for it.
Paddle the thing. Yeah, it's designed without paddling in mind.
Yep.
And then if you add motors on, you just have to expect you get a bit of drag in there, so it's not going to be as fast as some other hull designs with a motor, but it still freaking moves.
Yeah.
So
there's just a couple dink and dunk things when you turn the seat, you get right in the way of the cup holder. Like there's just like little tiny dink and stuff. But overall, very, very good in all those areas. But that's also why the value's not quite there. Yes, you get the pedals with it, which is nice, but still at $3,700, that's a big ouch. It's the most expensive kayak that we tried this year, and then the all-in cost ends up being very high. It balloons very quickly, especially because you have to get wheels or a trailer and motors and batteries and all the other stuff that you want to go with it. So it balloons quickly.
It's similar to like how I would consider like a Hobie Pro Angler.
Exactly.
Like it's very expensive up front and then very expensive on the back end and then very expensive for more things. So,
but overall, fishes extremely well. Is definitely worth the money. If that's the kayak you like, go get it. You're going to be really happy. Gets the 80% score, 20 out of 25. Very nice.
It's pretty dang good.
Next up, we've got the NuCanoe. We've got the Unlimited and the U10. We're going to start with the Unlimited. This is their 12-foot model. This is not a new release, but it's new to us. And we finally got one to mod ourselves. We went on one last year and we got the full mod experience this year. Jeff was in the 12-footer, which is the Purple People Eater.
The Purple People, which we changed the name to Thanos, actually.
Oh, fire!
And Paul made a sticker.
Here's the picture of the sticker. It's sick.
So that sticker is going on the Unlimited. And then Paul had the U10 that he unfortunately didn't get enough time on the water with, but did get on the water a couple times.
Because I blew out my bi.
Because he exploded his biceps. Not recommended.
Oh, look at me do this.
Look at, he can move.
It's incredible.
He is healing so quick. So here's the interesting thing. We scored these exactly the same because they perform exactly the same, except one is 2 feet longer than the other.
I was about to say, so they're designed almost identically. So the NuCanoe Unlimited, the little bit of older model, the U10 released after the fact, takes it, shortens it a little bit, and then makes a couple modifications. Those key modifications are really on the sidewalls for the most part. So there's a little bit of a place for you to store your reels, and your rods is a little bit easier. And there's a couple of other minor improvements, but overall, same platform, 10-footer versus 12-footer.
The Unlimited is $18.99. The U10 is $16.49. They are not cheap for paddle kayaks, and that's because they are designed to be a blank canvas that can be modded to the moon. Like you can do literally anything. The options are unlimited.
The other thing about these kayaks that you really need to understand is they don't come with pedals. So it's paddle only as you get it, which means you're adding stuff to it like Jeff said.
You can get pedals if you want to. We've never tested the pivot drive from NuCanoe, so we cannot comment on it. I've heard good, I've heard bad. I have no idea. I need to try it out.
But Jeff talked about the pivot drive. So the way that these kayaks are designed, there are NuCanoe created accessories that you bolt on as needed. So they have a front hatch that you can add, but you don't have to add. There's a quick connect system that allows you to attach a big electric motor or something like the pivot drive. There's also an EPS system that is incredible, and it's a foot steering
one pedal.
It is so awesome.
Push one way, go left. Push the other way, go right.
And it's so minimalistic. They've done a really good job with it. Anyways, all that to say, you can add things to your heart's content if you want or if you don't want. So what I like about that, I really like the modularity. So I like that, okay, if you really want an expensive kayak, you don't have to pay $3,600 up front to get it. You can just buy the kayak and then add pieces as needed. What I don't love, some of those pieces are kind of expensive. The pod being $200 is like, ouch. And then the EPS system, again, you can add it later on and kind of save your pop cans and do that as you want, but it's a little more on the expensive side. That
over
said,
$400.
That said, the overall price, once you add everything, the batteries, the system, it's still comparable to pretty much anything else that's out there. It's still a value. Another couple other things to note. note, they do have a softer plastic. This plastic can be scratched pretty easily. You kind of need to be careful with this kayak. You're absolutely going to want to get a bumper guard for the front. No questions asked.
First purchase you make.
It's the first thing that you get. Not expensive, but you got to do
Keel guard.
Got to have a keel guard.
Yep.
Next up is very wide. It's insanely stable. Not quite as stable as the Titan X, but still in that upper tier of very, very stable kayak. Tarpon system they have that channels water works very good. That was one of our gripes with the Titan X. There's always water on the inside of it.
Always.
No matter what you do.
Yeah.
This does not have that problem whatsoever. However, what's not quite as good as the Titan X is their routing of cables. So wiring these can be a little more tricky, but overall, and they work really good in the river as well as on a lake. They do a good job in big water, small water, moving water. All good.
What I will call out is somebody called us out on the live for rigging these is because you only have access at the back.
Yes.
There is no other access.
Underneath the seat, like the battery box in the Titan X or in the Old Town, there's not that.
So what they did, or what they recommended, was that you drop your wire in from the back, the open circle hatch in the back. You tip the kayak like this. You let the wire slide to the front. Gravity works. And then you either have to have tied like an Allen key or a metal washer or something. You could use a magnet to retrieve it because the front part of this has a little, not a power link plate, but NuCanoe's version of that, which is unfortunately slightly inferior to the power link because it's not open underneath. So you can't just reach into it. You have to drill a hole and then like you're pulling wire out of a hole this big.
It's tough.
Major look. Who do I punch?
Me. But overall, we do really love these kayaks, and that's going to really show in the scoring. So on design innovation, again, these both got the same scores all the way across. We did them independently. This is just how it worked out. They both get a 4. We like pretty much everything about how this is working, and we see the improvements on them. So overall design, very, very good.
User experience, we're giving it a 4 as well. Working with NuCanoe has been awesome. They're just great. They just listen and they make changes because they listen.
Plates are an example. They had just a blank plate before. They improved the plates on the next model. They do a really good job.
Yeah, so they are making upgrades. They are listening to consumers. Customer service seems good. Both kayaks are pretty dang light, easy to tote around, so you could buy wheels if you want to. We liked using the Yak Attack wheels, for example, but you don't necessarily have to. They're light enough that you can move them on your own, especially the U10.
Next up is performance. These both got a 5 out of 5.
They're great.
They just work exactly how you want them to work. They can be
better than I thought they would.
Yeah, they can be really small rigs if you want them to be, not just from the 10-foot, but like they can operate small. You don't need to add a lot to them, and they fish really well. Or you can absolutely load them down with anything that's out there, and they work with almost any modification accessory out there because of all the track. They just work really, really well.
They're pretty dang fast too. Like they're built well. To be stable and fast is hard to do in the kayak industry, so I do love seeing a kayak that can do that.
The only miss is we have noticed this. They do whip around the wind a little bit, so if you don't have an anchor, you're going to struggle a little bit.
No rudder included. You can add it if you want to, or if you got like the new ports, you can add the little hydrofoil that they have on there, and that acts as a rudder. So that
once you have anything,
stabilizes you.
Yeah, once you have anything, you're okay. Now, quality and durability, this is where you get the 4. Now, overall, yes, very high quality. Overall, yes, just very, very solid. However, that softer plastic is a miss for us. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to put a hole in the boat tomorrow, but you could. So you got to be a little bit careful.
It will get scuffed up for sure.
Yep.
Overall value for these is a 4. It can't be a 5 because they are priced pretty high for like what starts as just a paddle kayak. So we give it a 4 because I mean otherwise like you do get a lot of options for sure. A lot of that is aftermarket though. Like after you buy the kayak, you have to go buy the other things. So there comes your knocks. It's a 4 out of 5.
But it's still a value. 4 is a very good score. So overall, you get a slightly higher score than Titan X. 21 out of 25. So that's an 84%er.
Top tier for kayaks that we're going to rate on this channel. I can tell you right now, there's not going to be many, if any, that rate higher than 84%.
It's the only kayak I have. I had 3 or 4 to begin this year. Well, technically, I have an inflatable. But of the hard-sided kayaks, it's the only one I have. With that 10-footer, I feel like I have everything I need. So we did love the NuCanoe Unlimited and the U10.
Next up, we're going to the brand Crescent, which we were new to last year. I think it was the first time we got onto any of them. And now we make an annual trip to our buddies over at Water Dog Outfitters in beautiful Whitehall, Michigan. And we test out all the new kayaks from Crescent and other brands that they carry because they carry a ton of brands there.
Everything that we go through today, they have.
Yep. They have all of that. And we probably tested it there first and then bought it or got it sent to us if we were lucky,
exactly what happened.
So first up, we'll go with the Crescent Shoalie, and then we got the Crescent LT2, the Lite Tackle 2, both of which we bought ourselves from Water Dog, so we're entitled to our opinions, Spaceman. So to start out with the Crescent Shoalie, this is the one that drew us to Crescent in the first place. Overall price, $15.99. And let's go through the score. So design innovation, this thing is innovation heavy, 4 out of 5. It's hard to be perfect. Let's be real. User experience, we got a 4. Performance, we get a 5, especially in the river. Actually, specifically in the river, which is what it's made for.
Yeah.
Quality and durability, a 5. It's a beast. And then value overall, because of the price and the niche-ness of it, a 3 out of 5. Now, when we say niche-ness, what do we mean by that?
So Crescent Shoalie is designed, well, Crescent in general, they are a paddle-centric company. This is no exception. However, this is their fishing-focused vessel. And what they've done is they've said, this is going to be the ultimate river vessel. Now, why does it get a 5 on some areas, like performance? Because not only does it do that well, that much better than almost any other river vessel, it also does really good in open water. It does really well being motorized with a rear mount motor, and really everything is molded in that you need. You don't have to add as much to this kayak. That's also part of their mantra is mold it in, add it from the beginning, everything that you need, nothing that you don't. And
start good, stay good.
And this is a home run in that area. So design and innovation, they've got like this really cool front handle. You can pull out the tether and it becomes like a drag strap, which is great for the river.
Skinny sections of the river, you're gonna have a great time. It is the best river vessel that we've ever used, period. And we've put it through some stuff.
And we've dropped it too. So durability is very high on this one. Now, where does it get knocked? One, the seat is good and comfortable, but it's not that like built out swivel kind of high-end fishing kayak. It's a good, very good seat. It's not the best, but it has its own, it's kind of niche. It folds down flat. It's good, but it's not as good as some of the other fully built out ones.
The option for the rear motor mount has a problem because you add a plate, but they did not include brass inserts, which drives me nuts.
Where you drill in.
So you have to drill a hole in the vessel and then lock it down with like a bolt and a nut underneath inside the kayak, right? So just not ideal. There's a better way to do that. If they had done that, they would have got an extra point somewhere on this list for it. But that is definitely something that we knock it for. The other thing I'll say is to add the anchor wizard. If you want to do an anchor on this thing, you have to lose a side handle, get a accessory plate, put the anchor wizard on that. That's the best way to do it.
It worked good.
Yeah, you could do it other places. It's just not as good.
Yeah, so, not as good. But overall, the kayak is phenomenal. So they got an 84% out of the possible total, 21 out of 25. That's the tie for the highest score yet. So that is top tier. Oh, and it did get a drop in value because for $1,600, it actually was, I think, $1,750. I think that was the original price.
It was a little higher.
It was more higher when we got it. Even with the price dropping, for a paddle-only kayak, again, you have to add all this stuff. That's what we gave the NuCanoe, so it seemed level.
Last thing for niche on both Crescent kayaks that we review here today is that they're not exactly designed to stand out of.
They're not at all. They're not designed to stand.
They're not designed to fish the way that I like to fish. You're okay with it for sure.
Okay. I like to sit.
You tend to sit a lot more while we're fishing. I like to stand up constantly.
And you're not alone. I'm the minority, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, people who understand Crescent are there for the paddling and the sitting down and paddling. And that's like perfect for them. For people like me, it's not an ideal kayak. So because this is our opinion, we got to give it a little bit of a knock for that. So to be clear, and that applies to both the Shoalie. And now let's review the Lite Tackle 2. So Lite Tackle 2, another kayak that you owned for a while. You fully modded out. We had the Newport 180 Pro on there, the NK 180 Pro on it. Base price for this is $11.99.
So cheap. And it's like a 12-foot kayak. So you're getting like...
You say cheap. Somebody's going to get mad in the comments. Keep that in mind.
Relative to other kayaks in the same class, it's the cheapest one we've talked about so far. And it's one of the longer ones. So you're close to that 12-foot range. Now, the thing about this one is it's not a fishing vessel. It's designed to be a paddle vessel. It does really great in open water. It is not very stable to stand in. You can do it, but it's not nearly as stable as some of these others. Sitting down is wonderful. It is pretty durable. It doesn't have a molded in front hatch, and the front hatch is not attached with like a hinge. It's just like loose straps. Has the same seat as the Shoalie that we were just talking about. Good. Not quite as heavy duty and built out as some of the other ones. And then the rear section, because it's a paddle kayak, is very tapered. You're only going to get a medium size Yak Attack Black Pack Pro, but you're gonna have to turn it sideways. You're not gonna be able to, do it like the other ones do it. And then I will say this though, it's very lightweight, and that is a huge benefit for a lot of people. 12-foot kayak and being in that 75-pound range is completely insane. And even when you add everything on it, relatively inexpensive compared to other models, and it's very light. However, it doesn't have a lot of the amenities that you want in one of those big hyper fancy fishing models. So overall rating, design and innovation. It's a great paddle kayak, not a great fishing vessel, so it gets to 3. So some things we love, some things we don't.
Nothing on it really blows my mind.
No, but it is fast. I will say it is freaking fast.
But all the Crescent kayaks are fast and are, I would say, a pleasure to paddle.
Oh, 100%. If you're into paddling, this could be one for you.
If you're into paddling.
Yeah, for sure. User experience, we give it the 3. You can only get certain mods, like from Crescent. They don't have as many mods available as some others. dollars, and you know you're gonna have to drill some holes for sure. Wiring it's not great.
DIY heavy.
You're gonna have to get your hands dirty. Performance is a 4. It is very fast. It paddles very well. Everything works the way it's supposed to, and it's very hard to break. So quality, you get a 4. It's very durable. It is a quality vessel. The value's a 3. You're not getting a lot for your money, even though it is cheaper and you do get some things.
You're
very
not getting basic.
It's very box. Yeah. You're not getting this like very deluxe, everything included like you do with the Unlimited, like you do with the Titan X. You got to custom mod a whole bunch of stuff. So overall, it gets a 17 out of 25. That's a 68%. I think the major reason for that is that it's not hyper fishing focused. It can be, and for some people, really niche, phenomenal. Most people, probably not a great fishing kayak.
Bottom line, we're going to recommend every
other things in front of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, agreed.
It's not one we would recommend.
Not to most people.
Cool. So that's it for Crescent. Let's move on to Old Town. We had 2 kayaks from Old Town that we got a chance to work with this year. You had the Old Town Pedal PDL 106, Agent 106. Agent 106. And then I had the Old Town BigWater. One we can recommend, one we do not. So let's start with the Old Town PDL 106. This is a pedal kayak. Base price is $25.99.
Seems high.
Seems high is actually a decent value for most pedal kayaks. So keeping that in mind, it's like towards the middle, lower end of the pack in terms of cost for a pedal kayak. It's a 10-foot, 10.5-foot, 10'6", right? 106. So it is a shorter version. They also have the 120 and they do bigger ones, right? But this is the 106.
Here's some of the things we love. One, it's the only floating pedal drive that I'm aware of. It also has built into the pedal drive a waterproof hatch, which is
awesome.
Really cool. It does have one of the original
forward-facing rod holders,
which
one of the first ones.
But it's on the wrong side. Should have been on the right because most people are right-handed.
Do better.
You fight the fish with the right hand, net with the left. Now you're doing this and then this, and it's not great. So
one of, but not the first, to add power pole pattern on the back, the 4-bolt pattern to mount motors, power pole, all that stuff.
But
it's offset.
So that means instead of being straight at the back of your kayak, it's turned this way, which means anything that you do has to work around that. It also has a front hatch that I cannot stand. It's like sort of this oval shape.
Standard Old Town hatch.
It should be taking up, it should be taking up more space in the front and really making the most out of that space instead of kind of minimizing it. And it doesn't have a hinge. It's just sort of loosely, floppily attached.
Do better, Old Town, please.
What we do love is it's one of the most stable 10-footers on the market. It is one of the most best performing in both river and on BigWater. It's unbelievable. It just works really good. And for a 10-footer at the weight, because it's around, was it 100 pounds-ish?
107.
Crazy good. It's actually more on the throw and go side when you include like a 27-pound pedal included. So it has a lot of things we love, some things we don't.
There's a bunch of things that we love about it. Let's go through the scores. So design and innovation. Credit where credit's due. It brought a lot of things to the market that didn't exist before. It did a lot for the kayak industry. It did a lot for the pedal kayak industry, for sure. It gets a 4 out of 5. We go over to user experience. Usually a pleasure with Old Town. 4 out of 5. Like, they're great to work with. Amazing warranty. Great customer service.
Available everywhere.
You can't go wrong. Old Town gets a 4 out of 5 almost all the time.
And you don't need to add much, if anything at all. So it's going to operate really well out the box.
Performance, 4 out of 5. We mentioned it's a pleasure to fish out of. It's great pedal kayaks, very fast, it's stable, and it handles well in both rivers and lakes.
Quality and durability gets a 5. It is
always on Old Town.
I mean, they just built them a little bit different. Heavy duty, rock solid, everything's built to last. And lastly, this one has probably changed over time, but the value is a 3. Now, a lot of that's because we just had a new release of a 10-foot, really quality pedal kayak.
The Native Slayer LTE.
Like, literally also just came out.
We did a video on it. We compared it to this kayak on purpose because they're both like in that 10-foot pedal variety. But that one is coming in $350 less, and it's lighter.
And it's new. It's got like all the new features that you want. Now, Old Town can't do anything about that, but that doesn't change the reality for you as a consumer.
They could make another one.
Well, but they haven't.
They could redo the Sportsman.
They could redo the Sportsman, which I would be hyped for. Please call me before you do that, because I want to help you. But
no more Fire Tiger kayaks.
No thanks.
No
thanks. But I will say this is still punching way above its weight class. So it still gets to 3, and there's really only one thing that can compete with it, and it just came out. So it's a 3. It's not going to be a 4, can't be a 2. Overall score ends up being 20 out of 25, 80%. So right up there with a top tier. Would still happily recommend this to somebody, especially because you can get these used at less money. We're talking about new, MSRP. If you get one used, I think you're right where you want to be.
So next up in the Old Town category is the first kayak we are not going to recommend to you, to anyone, really.
Yeah.
Actually, a second. I guess the LT2 we wouldn't recommend
No.
either. So our second unrecommended kayak would be the Old Town BigWater. Now, this is a 13'2" kayak. I would say if you're getting this just to paddle, I wouldn't recommend it at all. It is the Predator platform, the 13-foot that existed in like 2006. Like I had it. That was the first kayak I really got, like official kayak, was the Old Town 13-footer. It's got this middle console that I hate.
Takes up a lot of space. It's got like a magnetic feature that was probably cool at the time, but now just doesn't serve a lot of purpose.
2 hinges, kind of flimsy floppy. In fact, it's going to knock it on the durability. You'll see in a second, specifically because of that little bin there. But overall, like it's basically just a paddle kayak.
Well, the rear area doesn't hold as much as you would want. It's kind of sloped instead of angled, and they didn't maximize the gunnel space in the back. You definitely have a closed-in cockpit because of what Jeff was talking about, and then it is heavy. So it is a big, heavy kayak. It also... Again, a lot of this is just old design, right? So this is just an older design. So you're not giving it a fair
Predator
shot.
platform.
Yeah, it's the old design. So they were one of the originators. Again, at the time, this would have gotten a high score. But they were one of the originators of, hey, let's have a plate that you drill into instead of the hull of the kayak. Those are not nearly as nice as what's available today. And there's
Old Town, old design,
brutal. Now there's no track on this too, which can be really frustrating. But again, you're just subject to the old design. Like that's really what's killing this kayak.
So the track is actually built into the plates that are replaceable. It sucks.
It's not great.
It's not good.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to add all of that. So overall, $1,700 for a kayak that's like a little bit outdated. You're gonna struggle. So design and innovation, it's obviously not gonna get a good score.
No,
it got a 2, right? Because it's old. User experience, 3. Why? Because it's only paddle. And then if you want to add something, it's not designed to be added. You can't put a bow mount on it, and there's really no place to put something in the back. You're going to struggle. So
you can. I actually put the Versa rudder from Bixby on it, and I set it up to do foot steering. It did okay. I've done foot steering on several different kayaks, and I can say that there's a lot better platforms to do foot steering on. This is not that.
Yeah, and it's also just really heavy. So that is a struggle for what you're getting. So it gets a 3. Performance, it gets a 4. It does what it's supposed to do.
It's pretty fast. It paddles good. It turns good. Like you can't knock it too much.
It's going to hold up.
Yeah.
So speaking of holding up, durability and quality, you get a 4. Everything from Old Town, they do the right stuff. They use great materials and they built them to last.
Normally it'd be a 5, but the bolts that are included for accessories on this thing are trash. They basically strip out they're basically made of plastic. So you would want to replace those with stainless steel bolts, which I had to do on mine for any accessory I wanted to add. Otherwise they stripped out or they broke. I actually broke 3 of them and then had to drill them out of my kayak. It's not good.
And then the center console is a little bit flimsy. We didn't really love that. So you get the knock there. Lastly, value. Look, for $1,700, we already talked about the LT2. That's head and shoulders above where the BigWater is.
So many better kayaks.
And there's just a lot better options that do the same thing for less or equal money. So
it's a 2.
It's a 2. So overall score, 60% of the total, 15 out of 25. Not a great score. Again, we're kind of beating up on it because it's old, but it's just not there for you right now. There's other newer models.
All right, you guys, so that is it for all the hard plastic vessels. We do have inflatable vessels that we tried this year as well, and maybe we'll have to review those on another video. You guys let us know in the comments below if you want us to do that. Also, let us know what you think of the rating system and how we rated these kayaks. If you vehemently disagree with us, maybe let us know in the comments as well.
For it.
But give us some reasons why. Like if you say, no, actually it's perfect, tell me why. I would love to hear from you guys, hear your feedback on this obviously as well. This is just our opinion and you are obviously entitled to your opinion as well. This is based on our experiences on the water and rigging and all that other stuff that goes into using these kayaks. So that's it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful for you and maybe you subscribe. That'd be super neat. We'll catch you guys on the next video, okay?
Which way are we going this time?
Out.
Bye!